Like and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to press on like button.
Why do we love horror? It's a question that seems to defy the very logic of our survival. Why would any rational being, hardwired by millions of years of evolution to avoid danger, spend their Friday nights seeking out terror? Let me ask you something. Have you ever watched a horror movie alone at night and told yourself, this is a bad idea? But you pressed play anyway. You invited the darkness in. This isn't just a quirk of modern entertainment. It's a window into the deepest parts of what it means to be human. Today, we are taking a full 15-minute journey into the abyss to find out why our brains are so addicted to the thrill of the scare. Chapter 1. The Spectrum of Fear. Horror isn't a monolith. It's a complex menu of anxieties tailored to different parts of our psyche. To understand our love for it, we must first understand the tools the genre uses to dismantle our sense of safety. From the internal world of the mind to the external threat of the predator, each subgenre pulls a different lever in our evolutionary hardware. First, there's psychological horror. This subgenre doesn't need monsters under the bed. It finds them inside our own minds. It focuses on the internal world of characters, blurring the lines between reality and illusion to create discomfort through mental and emotional manipulation. It preys on human vulnerabilities, paranoia, and existential dread. It makes us question reality itself, making us identify with the protagonist's struggle against their own perceptions. It's the fear that the enemy isn't outside. It's already here, behind your eyes. Then we have supernatural horror, ghosts, demons, and entities that defy the laws of nature. This taps into our ancient, primal fear of the unknown and things beyond our control. It plays on religious and mythological themes, reminding us of a reality that exists beyond human comprehension. Evolutionarily, an inability to understand or predict a threat would have been highly dangerous, making us inherently wary of forces we cannot see. We watch this to confront the abstract, practicing our response to the unexplainable. Contrast that with the slasher. Here, the threat is physical and relentless. Characterized by a killer who stalks a group of people, slasher films focus on human villains who embody physical power and unfeeling menace. From an evolutionary perspective, these unyielding adversaries represent the ultimate predator, one that looks human but lacks all empathy. Characters like Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees trigger a deep-seated fear of our own species' darker capabilities. They remind us of our fragility in the face of raw, unmoving violence. And then there's body horror. This subgenre centers on the physical transformation or mutilation of the human body, exploring themes of identity, decay, and the loss of bodily autonomy. It aims to elicit visceral reactions, combining horror with deep-seated disgust. Our brain views this as a biological error message, a warning of infection, physical ruin, or the terrifying reality of our own mortality. It forces us to look at the one thing we can never truly escape, our own flesh. Chapter 2. The Biology of the Scare. What happens inside your skull when a jump scare hits? To truly understand our addiction to horror, we have to look at the brain. Numerous studies using MRI scans have shown that watching horror movies activates threat response regions as if the danger were real. The brain distinguishes between different types of fear. The slow, creeping dread activates visual and auditory processing areas, while sudden scares activate areas associated with emotional processing and instant threat evaluation. The hero of this response is the amygdala. This tiny almond-shaped structure is your brain's fire alarm. It reacts immediately, before you even realize the monster on screen is just pixels. It triggers the fight-or-flight response, flooding your blood with adrenaline and cortisol. Your heart rate skyrockets, your muscles tighten, and your senses sharpen. Your body is physically preparing for a battle that isn't actually happening. It's a primal surge of energy that has kept our species alive for millennia. But while your amygdala is screaming, danger, your prefrontal cortex, the logical center, is whispering, relax, it's just a movie. This conflict creates what psychologists call the Goldilocks zone of uncertainty. When the brain realizes the threat is fictional, it allows the pleasurable release of dopamine and endorphins. This is the thrill we chase, a chemical reward for surviving a simulated threat. For sensation seekers, this chemical storm is a peak experience, a moment where they feel more alive than ever before. Chapter 3. Evolutionary Training. Why did we evolve this way? The threat simulation theory suggests that horror media acts as a form of survival practice. It allows us to familiarize ourselves with potential dangers and practice emotional and behavioral responses in a safe setting. By watching a character survive a monster, your brain is subconsciously cataloging coping mechanisms. You are learning about predators, hostile encounters, and risks without having to face them. Our ancestors who simulated threats were the ones who survived the real ones. Supernatural horror trains us to deal with the unknown, with invisible threats we can't predict. It manages our uncertainty, allowing our brains to practice staying calm when we don't have all the information. This training contributes to psychological resilience, making us better equipped to handle real-world stressors. We are playing with the tools of survival, turning the nightmare into a curriculum for life. Horror is the laboratory where we test our limits and sharpen our instincts for a world that can still be very dangerous. Chapter 4: The Uncanny Valley. Sometimes it's not the monster that scares us. It's the thing that looks almost human. This concept, first introduced by Masahiro Mori, describes the unsettling revulsion we feel when encountering entities that are near human but possess subtle imperfections. Our brains register a biological mismatch, triggering a negative reaction. It challenges our understanding of what defines humanity and reminds us of the fragility of our own identity and mortality. When something appears human but lacks life, our primal alarm bells go off. Iconic horror figures like Michael Myers exploit this valley perfectly. His emotionless, featureless mask is an approximation of a human face devoid of all human emotion. This disconnect is what makes him so much more terrifying than a traditional monster. He is the void where a person should be. Clowns and zombies work the same way. Their exaggerated features or unnatural movements fall into that uncanny gap, triggering a visceral revulsion that is hardwired into our biology. It's an error message from our brain saying, this is not human. Chapter 5: Catharsis and Collective Anxiety. Beyond the biology and the training, there is emotional relief. The theory of catharsis, originating from Aristotle, suggests that by witnessing fear in a controlled, dramatic setting, we can purge those negative emotions from ourselves. Horror acts as an emotional pressure valve, letting us experience anxiety in a way that is structured, finite. It provides a vicarious temporary scare that ultimately leads to a sense of relief and satisfaction when the threat is resolved and the credits roll. Collective anxieties in society often create a need for this purge. It's no coincidence that horror consumption spiked during the global pandemic. When real-world stress becomes overwhelming, we seek out fictional terror as a means to process shared fears. Horror movies offer a safe avenue for dealing with emotions like grief and trauma, allowing us to experience the journey of survival along with the characters. In a world that feels out of control, horror gives us a safe space to face the abyss and come back stronger. It's a collective ritual of emotional regulation. Chapter 6: Benign Masochism. This theory suggests that people can derive enjoyment from initially unpleasant stimuli. It's the same reason we love spicy food, intense exercise, or riding a roller coaster. The negative sensation of the scare intensifies the positive relief that follows, leading to a sense of euphoria. High sensation seekers, those drawn to novel and intense experiences, are particularly drawn to this rush. For them, horror is a chemical ladder to feeling fully alive. It's the sensation of danger without the actual risk, and it is intensely addictive. However, not everyone enjoys horror. Studies indicate that individuals with higher empathy may react more negatively to the suffering on screen. Our brains are wired differently. Some of us need that high-intensity stimulation to cut through the routine of modern life, while others find it overwhelming. People who enjoy horror often show greater psychological resilience and artistic thought. It's not just about a movie preference. It's about how your unique brain processes intensity and threat. For the enthusiast, the abyss is a playground. Chapter 7: The Shared Scream. Horror is often a social experience. Shared adrenaline increases trust. When you face danger with someone else, even fictional danger, your brain views them as an ally. This huddling instinct is ancient. Our ancestors survived by sticking together when the predators were near. Fear was the glue of the tribe. Shared danger creates unity, and subsequent relief strengthens social bonds. Watching horror with others is a collective victory over the things that scare us. It's a ritual that creates camaraderie through shared vulnerability and shared triumph. When the credits roll and the lights come up, you've survived the ordeal together. This shared victory creates a sense of camaraderie that few other genres can match. You face the monster as a group, and the shared relief strengthens your social bonds. In a fragmented modern world, horror is one of the few genres that can still pull people together in a moment of pure shared emotion. It's a reminder that we are stronger together when the dark is deep. Survival is, and always has been, a team sport. It's the feeling of coming back into the light together. Chapter 8. The resilience factor. Can watching horror actually make you a mentally stronger person? Research during the COVID-19 pandemic showed that horror fans exhibited significantly higher levels of psychological resilience and lower anxiety. By practicing emotional regulation during a movie, learning to stay calm while your heart is pounding, you are training your brain for real-world stress. You are building the mental muscle needed to face life's genuine horrors. Horror acts as a laboratory for the mind, a place where we can test our courage without the risk of actual injury. This training allows people to better cope with real-life stressors and anxieties. We study the darkness because understanding it makes it smaller. Knowledge creates control. When we understand what scares us, we master it. Horror is not just about the monster. It's about the person looking at the monster. It's about the realization that we can face the most terrifying things imaginable and come out on the other side, stronger and more resilient than we were before. It's a journey towards self-mastery through the medium of fictional terror. It turns our vulnerabilities into strengths. Humans possess a natural, morbid curiosity, an adaptive trait that allows us to gain information about potential threats. This curiosity isn't a sign of darkness, it's a sign of a brain that wants to be prepared. We look at the abyss because knowing what's down there is better than guessing. We turn fear into information, and information into power. Horror is the laboratory where we test our limits and study the mechanics of danger. It's an ancient instinct to know your enemy, and horror allows us to do that from the safety of our couch. Knowledge is the ultimate weapon against the dark. We walk toward the forbidden because the unknown is the most dangerous thing of all. Horror lets us approach the abyss without falling in. It provides a safe simulation of the ultimate unknown: death, evil, and the things that go bump in the night. By exploring these themes, we strip them of their power. We normalize the abnormal, making the world feel just a little bit safer. It allows us to process the darker aspects of humanity without consequences. We go to the edge, we look over, and then we walk back into the light, knowing just a little bit more about what's out there. In modern life, we often feel numb, routine, predictable, flat. We are safer than our ancestors ever were, but we are also more disconnected from our primal instincts. Horror cuts through that numbness. It forces you to feel deeply and immediately. When your heart pounds, when your breath catches, when your senses ignite, you are fully awake. You are present in your own body in a way that modern life rarely allows. Fear reminds us that we are alive. It connects us to the sheer electricity of our own existence. It's the ultimate antidote to the routine. It connects you to something ancient, something primal buried deep in your bones. It's the voice that once whispered in the darkness to our ancestors. Stay alert, stay alive. That voice is still there, and horror is the signal that keeps it sharp. We aren't just watching a story, we are listening to a biological heritage that spans thousands of years. We are connecting with the very essence of human resilience. We are part of a long line of survivors who looked into the dark and refused to turn away. Horror is the heartbeat of that ancient survival instinct. So, the next time you press play on something terrifying, ask yourself, are you watching the horror, or is your brain enjoying the thrill of survival? Maybe we don't love horror because it scares us. Maybe we love it because we get to survive it. And survival has always felt good. It is the ultimate human victory, the proof that we are still here, still breathing, and still strong enough to face the dark. Thank you for joining me on this 15-minute journey into the human psyche. Survival is our legacy. Let's embrace the thrill of being alive. I hope this journey has given you a new perspective on the monsters that haunt our screens and the strength we find within ourselves to face them. The dark may be deep, but the light is always waiting on the other side. You've faced the abyss and you've come back. You are a survivor. May your heart always beat strong in the dark. Until next time. Don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the human mind. Join our community of survivors and share your favorite horror stories in the comments below. We'd love to hear why you love the scare. Until next time, stay safe in the dark and keep exploring the unknown. Thanks for watching.
Like and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to press on like button.